No, I didn't.
Okay, can you mute yourself if you're not muted, Winnie? Or I will mute you. Yes, good. All right, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are right now in the world. And welcome to today's sharing of Harmonize to Energize. My name is Terry Matthews. I've been a practitioner of JIN SHIN JYUTSU and a teacher of self-help for as long as I can remember. Well, no, that's not strictly true. It was 1989, I think I began my journey with JIN SHIN JYUTSU. So welcome everybody, and welcome all of you that are completely new to this art. JIN SHIN JYUTSU is an art of harmonizing life energy, sometimes known as chi or ki, as it moves up and down, in and out, left and right through our body, and we adjust it. We adjust it by tweaking what we call safety energy locks, which are situated left and right of the spine. There's 26 of them, 3 in the arms. We place our palm of our hands, back of our hands, fingers or thumbs on these safety energy locks to allow the energy to move more congruently. In acupuncture, they call them points, and they're much narrower. In JIN SHIN JYUTSU, our safety energy locks are the width, the unique width of your palm of your hand. So you've got a lot of space to play with. And sometimes people worry that you're not covering the area. Well, the palm of your hand will do the job. So no worries there. So here we are, a couple of days before people, and certainly in most parts of the world, celebrate the Christmas holiday. And for those that are more steeped in Celtic lore, we just passed back on the 21st the winter solstice. So as it's been a feeling for myself to move towards looking at what lies beneath words, if you like, a JIN SHIN JYUTSU instructor recently mentioned to me, and I don't think I'd heard it before, that Mary Burmeister, who, by the way, brought the art of JIN SHIN JYUTSU to the West via her teacher, Jiro Murai from Japan, had mentioned that words literally mask the truth. And you can look at, if you like, the words being, and this is not strictly, it's a perspective. The words could be the surface level, and the deep level could be numbers, numerology. In the beginning was the word, but at the beginning maybe was numbers. It's rather like with computers, machine code, zeros and ones lie beneath all the alphabet on your keyboard. Yeah. Those of you that are computer savvy will know that. And so the vibration of numbers creates really the truth of the word at the deepest level. And when we come to this time of the year, Christmas, there's lots of celebrating. On the one level, we can talk about the prophet, the saint, the Jesus, the Christ, or we could, and that would be, if you like, how we would figure at the manifest level. And then at the unmanifest level, we could talk about Christ consciousness. And then, as I said earlier, for those of you that are steeped in Celtic lore, you would talk about the solstices, the time when the sun is either directly overhead or less, so that there's less light or more light. And here at the winter solstice, there's more light reaching the planet, and the day is shorter. Back in the summer, it was the longest day, the summer solstice. So you've got these different descriptions of these different relationships, these seasons, these celebrations. And they have different meanings for different people. So I thought, well, I'll have a look at, let's begin with Christmas. We'll have a look at the word. Oh, and by the way, we've already looked at another principle behind this season, which is the giving and receiving. When we looked at Thanksgiving, we looked at number 6 being that balance and discrimination, where the exhale and the inhale balance out. So as we give, so we receive. And that really is one of the major principles of JIN SHIN JYUTSU. So whatever we discover in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, we're looking for balance or harmony between letting go or giving out and receiving energy. So at this season, I picked up my pencil and I wrote down the word Christ, and then I wrote down the word Mass, and I put them together. Then I wrote down the word winter and then solstice and put them together. So for those of you that are interested in numerology or have studied JIN SHIN JYUTSU in any depth, will know that we have charts with all the lists of the safety energy locks and all their meanings. For those of you that don't have that chart, I've listed where you can get it in the chat room. So looking at the word Christ and adding up the numerological equivalents, so C is the 3rd letter of the alphabet, H is the 8th, and so on and so forth, and you compute all those numbers to round up the total vibration of the word, and it comes to 2. And those who, as I say, have got the JIN SHIN JYUTSU knowledge or wisdom will know that 2 actually in JIN SHIN JYUTSU represents numerologically life force or wisdom, the life force for all creatures. How interesting is that? You could ally that to the concept of Christ consciousness. This understanding is the universal light, which the prophet or saint incorporated. He represented that consciousness, if you like. And then Mass, M-A-S, came to 7, which in JIN SHIN JYUTSU is victory, perfect life power. We're back on the life power again. Sorry, it was, I'm going to go back. Mass was 5, which was regeneration, breaking down the old and bringing in the new. But 5 and 2 is 7, which is victory, perfect life power. Apologies there. I sometimes run away with my thinking. So totally, overall, we're looking at Christ plus Mass vibrating to that victory of perfect life power. And we have that idea of energy moving down the front and then up the back through those positions of those safety energy locks on the body. The 7 there, as the energy moves down the front of the body at the big toe, is like a terminus for the descending energy. And then it goes up through the 2, the wisdom through life creatures on the ascending, the purifying level. And then I had a look at winter solstice, and the word winter, when it all added up, letter for number, was actually 8, which is rhythm, strength, and peace in JIN SHIN JYUTSU. And solstice is 9, end of a cycle, beginning of a new. Let's have a quick look at that idea of the solstice, because my most recent understanding is that during the summer, when the sun is radiating down, of course it's different in the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere, when the sun is radiating down, and all the other energies actually, the planetary energies are radiating down on the planet, that energy is being stored. It's being stored in the earth. And between the June the 21st solstice, summer solstice, all the way up to the winter solstice, this energy is being stored, being built up. And on the 21st of December, it is released, and it is fire energy that is released. It's like a warming energy, and in Chinese medicine, they would say an increase in the yang energy. So even though we talked last week, I believe, about bladder and kidney in the water element represented during the winter months of one level of understanding when we're hibernating, we actually need energy all the year round, and we actually need that movement of energy, if you like, that primal fire at that time of the year to prepare us for the next solstice, which comes in spring, so that the energy can just burst up through the shoots. And so I then took a look at, well, okay, what's going on at other levels around about December the 21st? And in astrological terms, planetary constellations, the energy moves into the field of Capricorn. It moves from Sagittarius to Capricorn. And the two flows in JIN SHIN JYUTSU that are operating between those axes are the diaphragm and the umbilicus. And those of you that have studied JIN SHIN JYUTSU will know the role of the diaphragm is to help energy move down the front. It's part of the 6th depth activation. And the umbilicus helps the energy move up the front. And this can be up the back. And this can be seen as the movement of energy through the main central. Those chakras or energy points down the spine and up the back. Actually, it's not like there's just the chakra down the anterior and nothing up the back. They are spheres of energy that vibrate front and back. And the umbilicus energy is helping that energy move up, and the diaphragm is helping it move down. So when we're celebrating this Christ consciousness, this life force, this victory of wisdom, perfect life power, represented perhaps in the consciousness of that, being balanced in the giving and receiving of energy at this time of year. We're not necessarily talking about the presents around the Christmas tree, but if you want to talk about Christmas trees, you know, you can look at the Jewish mysticism, the Judaic mysticism, the Kabbalah, and you can look at the tree of life, and you can look at the energy field of the 6th depth main central, whereas the tree, and of course right at the top is the star. Well, I don't want to particularly go into any particular Judaic tradition there, but there are people on this presentation who will understand what I mean, representing the Star of David. So anyway, where is this leading? Well, let's celebrate this energy of the solstice, this pushing of the energy that was stored at the summer solstice through to the winter solstice. Primal fire, which is 6th depth, and we said diaphragm and umbilicus are helping this move up the main central. So let's celebrate this movement of primal fire, and let's just call it, if you will, the Christ consciousness energy. I remember when I first came to JIN SHIN JYUTSU, and we talked about, or we were instructed on the idea of the jumper cable, where energy is facilitated by placing our hands again on those safety energy locks to allow energy to move between the different pathways and the different energy locks. Some people said, oh, JC, that stands for Jesus Christ, doesn't it? The jumper cable certainly facilitates that primal energy, that universal source energy. I don't know whether that is a reasonable representation or understanding. I don't know, but let's just say with these hands, these fingers and these thumbs, we can allow that consciousness, that universal energy that's stepping down into us, which is light, and the Christ consciousness can be represented by light, to facilitate the movement of energy at the unmanifest level, up the back and down the front. Are you still with me, or are we Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry if it's a bit MM.
That was amazing.
Little motor. Boop, boop, boop. So where do we go with this in our practices? For those of you that are completely brand new, I tend to use my MO, the 36 breaths, which are 4 sets of 9 breaths, structure to facilitate the movement of energy through the body. This was something that Mary Burmeister introduced as a way of representing how energy moved from more subtler realms to denser realms. And you could, if you experimented, you could feel that. I mean, maybe I was imagining it at the time, I don't know. But when I began with 1 set of 9 and then moved to another set, okay, my mind had been given the idea already that I was moving from high to low, this is a word, from subtle to dense. All right, my mind had already been given that trigger, but I did feel a difference in the energy. And when we do these practices, that's part of the process. And I'm never sure whether people fully understand when I say, how do you feel, or how did you feel? It's all about opening up that level of the heart, because where the feelings and emotional responses really emanate and receive energy. Because another word for JIN SHIN JYUTSU is nada, compassion. And where do we feel that? We feel that in our heart. And the heart, actually, in Chinese medicine, is never worked on directly. It's always supported, energized, and unburdened. Why is that? Well, the heart facilitates movement of energy through all of the organ pathways in the body. It's considered the most precious organ, but it's also the core of our emotional responses, and arguably our feelings and emotions become before our thoughts. And in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, thoughts are bus line, chest line, ear, heart and lung. It's that response to a thought after an emotion, if you like. So this 4 times 9 equals 36, 3 and 6 equals 9. We're repeating a cycle and ending it. We're going through 9 levels. Mary called them depths. Okay, let's go back to the word consciousness. Maybe these levels are depths of consciousness. In my house, there are many mansions, is a quote from, I believe, the New or Old Testament. I'm not sure which, apologies. Let's just talk about them as levels of consciousness, levels of frequency and vibration of energy. And we're moving through them with those breaths, 1 to 9, 9 to 1. In fact, it's more 9 to 1. In terms of nothingness, space, to somethingness, manifest, unmanifest, to manifest. And we do 4 sets to help us facilitate the movement of energy. By the time we've reached our 36th breath, arguably we're not the same person we were at the beginning, because generally speaking, the breath is there to facilitate the opening of the safety energy locks to allow the energy to move through the pathways. If we just place our hands on the safety energy locks, if they're open enough, the energy through the fingers, through the jumper cable, will facilitate that movement. But sometimes we're a little stuck. And by introducing the concept of the breath, we give it a push. We just allow that energy to get a little extra activation. So any of you who are new and you're thinking, well, when I place my hand on these safety energy locks, I'm actually placing my hand around about safety energy lock 22 to the new people. If you put your thumbs just underneath the shoulder girdle. I don't feel anything. Okay, well then breathe out. Another principle of JIN SHIN JYUTSU is we exhale, we empty in order to be filled. And as we let go, we allow the energy to move through, and the exhale gives it a little push. And then the energy ideally moves from the back of our head down the front of our body to the 15s, to the big toe, and then from the big toe up the back to that 15-2 area. We mentioned the 2, wisdom, life force for all creatures, all the way back up to safety energy lock 4, which is the occiput, and then back down again in a continual oval spiral. Vertically, it's like an oval, and horizontally, it's this kind of oval. It's a spiral. So do not worry if that made absolutely no sense at all. I'm a great believer in the experiential aspect of life. And that's what drew me to JIN SHIN JYUTSU, because we can talk about the philosophy until there's a phrase, till the cows come home. We can carry on talking, but actually, if we experience it, it becomes more meaningful. Yes, no? I believe that's true for most of us. So what am I going to suggest we do to encompass this whole understanding of the Christ consciousness moving through the body at the winter solstice, when this primal force is woken up through Sagittarius and Capricorn energy, diaphragm and umbilicus? I'm going to go for the umbilicus. And I'm going to go for the right side flow. Why? Well, that primal energy is with us at birth through the umbilicus. We are fed, actually, not just through the umbilical cord that you're familiar with at the front, but also at the back, the Tao point, the Kikai point. That is where the universal energy actually enters. It's just above the 2. We're back to the wisdom through life force for all creatures. It actually enters there as well. And the mother's energy is entering through the front there. The male and the female energy mixed together there. And the umbilicus supports us to bring that energy up, that primal fire of the main central spinal nervous energy, which keeps everything together. It's the 6th depth. It's the universal energy beginning to manifest in the body. And some people in JIN SHIN JYUTSU only ever do this main central 6th depth energy flow, or only ever do the umbilicus flow, and maybe the diaphragm flow too, because diaphragm and umbilicus facilitate this movement of energy up and down the spine. All right, I said, it's not really about intellectualizing, it's about experiencing. So those of you that have got textbook 2 will be practitioners. You will know that Mary actually gave us self-help for the umbilicus. Those of you that are not practitioners will not know this, but it's on page 31, 51. I don't know, my eyes are going crazy. It's actually 51. The textbook 2, and it's the umbilicus flow. And I've added an extra step to this so that we can slot it into our 4 sets of 9 exhalation inhalations, because there is a very much briefer self-help for the umbilicus flow than what is on page 51 there. It's actually 11 and 15. So here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to do the right flow, the right side flow. In JIN SHIN JYUTSU, new folks, the right side represents here and now. The left side represents ancestral lineage, the past, what we've brought in. So we're going to stick with where we are in the here and now, because Mary would always say, as a novice JIN SHIN practitioner, if you couldn't read the pulses, or even if you could, but you couldn't really understand what was going on, always do a right side flow first, because that is where that person is right now. Right now. Okay. So the right flow, and I'm only looking at my book because I normally do the left flow. But anyway, you're going to put your left hand on the right 11. For those of you that are new, the 11 is just close there to the side of the neck. Just imagine your hands are like a coat hanger and anchor them there right close to that shoulder, on the right shoulder. Left on the right 11. And the right is going to go on the left. Sorry, left 12. This sometimes is like a stranglehold, but don't strangle yourself. So left on right, right on left 12. And the 12 safety energy lock is on the side of the neck between the tendons. So here we go, there, and then there. Then that left hand stays on the right 11. The right hand moves up to the 20, which is on the forehead, above the eyebrow. That's the second step. And then it moves down to the other side, 12, the opposite 12 there. And then finally, as I say, to round it off, Mary probably had a good reason why she didn't include this. I'm going to take my hand away from the 12 and go down to the 15. So this is not what Mary did at the end. This is what Terry decided to do. Maybe other people have as well, I don't know. But it works. And all the time we're facilitating the movement of energy up the back. Some of you that have studied this know the umbilicus basically is a descending energy, but energy that's descending well facilitates the movement of energy to go up the back. All right, let us begin, and we're going to do each hold. Start here, like this. Left on right, right on left 12. We're going to do this for 9 exhalation inhalations. We're going to sit up as straight as we can. We're going to close our eyes. Stun your cell phones if you've got one that's needing to be stunned. As peaceful as you possibly can be. If your cat jumps on your lap, that's all good. Cats love the energy. Or maybe even your dog will crouch at your feet. Just keep your back straight. If you need back support, get a cush, place it at your back between the back of the chair and you. Just be comfortable and feel your feet firmly connected to the ground, because on the exhale, the energy is coming from heaven the head, all the way down through the waist to the hip line, all the way to the feet beneath. And at the safety energy lock 7, that terminus we mentioned earlier, victory, perfect life power, it turns around. It actually goes, my understanding anyway, much deeper into the core of the earth, and then turns around, comes up the back. Cosmic purifying or cosmic purified energy as it goes up the back. We're letting go as we exhale, and we're receiving as we inhale. So here we go, 9 exhalation inhalations, and just let it be. Let it breathe. Here we go. And if and when you've reached the 9th exhalation, inhalation, just become the observer. How and what are you feeling in terms of texture, the energy? And for new people, what we like to feel or hear is a pulse. One at the first safety engine lock here, the 11, and another one at the 12. And eventually those two communicate in such a way that it's like the radial artery pulse, throbbing. And then eventually, if we held it long enough, it would just become one. The two would become one. If you don't feel that, that's okay. That may be an indication that those energy locks need a little more support. And by yourself, or right now, if you choose, you would stay longer on them. Don't square your head and think, oh, you only do 9 exhalations. No. You could do up to 108. It's a 9, isn't it? You could go beyond that. The point being, we're facilitating the energy exchange. That's it. So I don't know about you, but that was very peaceful, like a snowy landscape, very wintry. And I felt quite a strong energy. Now, we move up. This hand, the right hand, goes to safety engine lock 20 over that left eyebrow. You can cover the whole of your eye if you need to. And we're going to hold the 11 with the 20. 9 exhalations, 9 inhalations. Well, 9 exhalation inhalations. So as we give, we receive. That 6 energy, that balance and discrimination there on the instep, the point there of the feet. And that's what we're looking for in JIN SHIN JYUTSU, balance and harmony. And at its simplest, it's the balance of exhale and inhale. To allow your shoulders to melt, letting go of all those unnecessary boulders, I like to say, those anxieties, worries, sadnesses, all the different attitudes that tend to activate when we're going through transformation, maybe through a challenging time, and can accumulate in the body through the shoulder region. "20", by the way, can connect us to eternity. That sense of the endless, infinite, universal consciousness, or Christ consciousness, if you wish. Your metabolic rate possibly different to mine, so you may have finished already. Doesn't matter. If you do, just contemplate where you are, how you're feeling. And when you've completed the 9th exhalation, inhalation, you can just pause. If your arm is hurting by holding the 20, just drop it into the 15 for a bit. Otherwise, stay as is. Notice how you feel. Okay, the 3rd cycle of 9 exhalation inhalations, that right hand comes away from the 20 and it goes onto the right 12 between the tendons on the side of the neck. And we do 9 exhalation inhalations. For those of you that are familiar with JIN SHIN JYUTSU, maybe you've noticed that we're moving through hip line, waistline, and bust line. The 11, 12, the 20. So we know we're in 6th depth. And furthermore, those that have understood JIN SHIN from the level of the order of creation, kidney function energy, that winter cycle, moves into 6th depth to regenerate until the spring it moves into the 3rd depth, liver or bladder. So there's representations of this movement, the primal fire during the Christmas consciousness period, throughout JIN SHIN JYUTSU, throughout different relationships. So when you've reached the 9th exhalation, inhalation, notice how you're feeling. Not about you, but I'm fairly aware of the primal force, particularly up my back, which is what you would expect, and particularly up the right side of my back. We're doing the right flow. And just notice. And then, as I said, the last cycle of, whoops. Am I still there, everybody? My computer's gone. The screen has disappeared.
You're still there.
Wow, I can't see myself. That's interesting. But you can hear me okay.
Yes.
And see me?
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay, I can't see anything. But anyway, the last step is the 11 and 15, which I've added on. It is not in the book, in textbook 2. So let's just hold 11:15 and let's pray my picture returns for me at least. Oh, this is interesting, isn't it? Looks like a snowstorm in front of me. Here we go. 9 exhalation inhalations. Okay, and when you come to that 9th exhalation inhalation, just observe how you're feeling. And you can either take the hand away from the 11 on the shoulder there and put it in the other 15, or stay as is, and just feel what you're feeling. It's very interesting. I know sometimes these things happen with computers, and undoubtedly it's an energetic thing. As I said earlier, I certainly felt the primal energy moving up, the fire, primal fire moving up inside my spine. So I'm not saying that's affected the computer, but who knows? It's fairly common that energy can affect computers, etc. So even though I can't see you, this is an interesting test, challenge. You can see me. I believe it will be recording even when I have to switch off. So we will get a replay of this. My clock says it's about 10 minutes to the hour. Is that what your clock says? Hello? Is there anyone there?
Yes, Terry.
12:47.
Okay. So I'm sorry I can't see you, but maybe there's a very, very good reason for this, because we're perhaps connecting to that level of consciousness which is peaceful and still, and maybe too much observation will disturb that. I don't know. That's just a possibility. And if there's anybody there who has a birthday, who's on today, or has a project they particularly want to work with, we will draw today's sharing to a close by offering our jumper cable, our hands, little fingers to thumbs in a circle with everybody in the group to that person, just allowing that energy that we've accumulated and that has started to move through the spine during this winter solstice December period to that person. So whoever you are, if there is anybody, say who you are if you want, or forever hold your peace if you wish. Otherwise, we'll just all connect and wish each other the greatest of health and harmony, always, not just at this specific season, always. The energy is always there, it just manifests in different colors, different times of the year. So let's do this and let's see what happens to the computer. Okay, connect. Allow the energy to come through your fingers, thumbs, center of your palms, to each and everybody in the group today that's here on the Zoom call, and allow the energy to flow through you to them and back again. Here we go. So just like when we're receiving or giving a JIN SHIN JYUTSU treatment, we sense the energy tells us when it's time to either pause or move on to another energy lock. There's, to me anyway, there's kind of a sense of withdrawal of the energy at that frequency, because enough is enough. That's what the person, the being, needs at the time. When we feel that, we can just say thank you very much and quietly allow the energy to go where it needs to go next. And as I've often mentioned, if you received a treatment offered Mary Burmeister, there was always this, if you like, punctuation at the end where Mary would bring the palms of her hands together, certainly when I was treated by her, and she would say, "Thank you, God." And we can again reference that to what I would understand as the Christ consciousness, that life energy, that primal life light permeating the universe, and particularly heightened at this time of year in people's consciousness. And in some traditions, the Christ consciousness is activated even more during this period, so that primal fire, diaphragm umbilicus energy, winter solstice energy is very active. So as much as I'd love to see your smiley faces, I cannot at the moment. Hopefully I can on the replay. There will indeed be a replay. I will get to it because I'm curious if it's recorded regardless. And also, if you didn't have time to watch all of this, you have a chance to. I want to thank you all for being with me today, and I want to wish you all a very peaceful, joyful celebration of this energy time, this solstice, this time of the Christ consciousness energy, however you celebrate it. Hopefully you'll all find that balance between giving and receiving, that harmony, and you won't be swayed one way or the other. You'll just simply be in the energy, enjoying the beauty and harmony of the season and feeling the love which often comes with receiving and giving to others at whatever level, material or energetic. And with that, I guess I'm going to have to press my off button to get out of this situation that I'm in. But thank you for being with me, and I look forward to sharing again. It'll be next Friday, and I may have to use a different computer, who knows. But December the 30th, drawing the year to a close, we will share again, same time, next Friday. So thank you, everybody. Take care and enjoy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
See you, Terry.
Yeah, see you, Winnie. Thank you, Debbie, Tom, those that I remember seeing. And I guess I better fix this computer.
Lynn, 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 oh, there you are.
Yes, Winnie.
What are you doing?
This is American Sign Language for I love you.
Oh, how nice. And you were hacked again. You know that. Yeah, okay. Well, happy holidays. Yeah.
Happy holidays to all.
The storm is starting to rage here. The storm that's been going through the US, we're now getting it. Anyway, it's ugly out there, so. Yes, all right, then. Bye-bye.
Mickey M, can you stop the recording? It seems like you're now made the host. Can you have access to stop the recording? Mickey? Are you there?